Hey guys, so I know many of you know that I'm quite passionate about barefoot running and all things dealing with the feet, and rightly so, because our feet are our foundation, and like the cliche saying is you want to build a strong foundation, build your house, the house of being our body, on a strong foundation. So if you really think about it, everything from walking, standing, running, it's really supported by our feet. So today I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a drill that I learned about. So I'm borrowing this technique from the likes of people like Dr. Spichal or Spichal. She is the author of Barefoot Strong, that is. I also take a lot of guidance from Vivo Barefoot, Dr. Phil Maffetone. There's many people out there that are huge barefoot proponents, and I like to follow their work. So I was just reading through a book called How to Treat Plantar Fasciitis Naturally, and there's a lot of discussion in there about plantar fasciosis, which is more of a chronic inflammation or pain throughout the plantar fascia. And it really describes a lot of different anatomy and mechanics of the foot and how we can work it naturally. So rather than just going to a podiatrist right away or trying to get surgery right away on the different foot issues, there are a lot of things that we can do to uncover the problem, and then we can develop what the root cause is and then build from there. So this little video is going to show you a few techniques that I am working on and have been working on that have really helped my feet over the long run for many years. And one in particular is called the 6-foot drill. Obviously do them barefoot without any socks or shoes. But there's 6 drills. So there's like eversion, inversion, many different ones. So in the book they suggest walking on grass or a softer surface and give yourself about 80 meters of length. For me, it's a little bit easier since I'm always traveling on the road. It's a little bit easier to do it on a treadmill. So I'm gonna go through the 6 different ones and go from there. Now, to get started, I always like to test my foot and toe flexibility. So I like to start by just simply lifting up my big toes, keeping the other toes down, and then switching that, pushing the big toes down, lifting the other toes up. And I kind of go back and forth. And this is just a good warm up for me. And then what I do is I curl the big toe under and curl the big toe under, do that on both sides. Then I curl the other toes under, point that big toe, right? Do the same thing on the other side. And this just is kind of a warm up for my feet. Just like you would do a warm up for your entire body before doing the workout, I like to do that for my feet specifically as well. Then I will curl all the toes under. This just helps to increase blood flow throughout that arch and the plantar fascia, so I like to do that. And some of you may experience cramps throughout the foot whenever doing this. That's just another sign of maybe a potential weakness or areas that have not been worked normally. And yeah, so just kind of go back and forth into the different foot motions, like so. Even coming up on the toes, maybe curling, pointing the toes in, coming down. So these are a lot of the things I like to do. Also rotations throughout the foot. And then again, this is just to get me warmed up before doing the barefoot 6 drills, okay? So we'll go right into it. Remember, you're gonna give yourself a certain distance. I'm gonna do about a minute for each of these different, the different drills. So we're gonna go right into it. Just to start, the first one is gonna be inversion. So inversion is walking on the outside of the foot. Okay, so I'm just gonna get the treadmill going. And we're just gonna move through it. So you're walking and staying on the outside edge of the feet. And I'm gonna do this, like I said, for about a minute. Obviously I'm walking pretty slow. I'm going about 1 mile an hour as if I'm walking. Maybe I'll go up to 1.5 or 2. The goal here is not to go fast or rush into this. Just try to walk as naturally as possible, but I'm walking on the outside edge. This is going to help to strengthen the intrinsic muscles of the feet, right? So this is inversion, we're turning the feet out and walking on the outer edge. So we're about 45 seconds into this. Next, we're going to go to eversion, which is turning the feet in and walking on the inside portion of the feet. If you don't have a treadmill, then give yourself a good length to walk. So here we go, inversion. So you might feel different parts of the feet working. This is, in essence, a way to wake up the feet. I feel the ankles working in different ways. This is much harder than it looks. Some of you may want to start with shoes on, just to get comfortable with the motions, but I really feel that sort of the pressure on the outer side of the ankles, how it's having to collapse in, and it's working different muscles throughout the feet that I don't normally work. So we're almost finished with this one. We're 45 seconds in. And next, we're gonna go feet splayed out. So getting the feet out as wide as possible. This could be considered a duck walk. Some people, quote unquote, naturally walk in this position, but I don't consider that naturally, which is why I put the quotes around naturally. People should or could learn to straighten their feet simply by forcing the action. So this is what we're kind of doing here now. I feel this up into my hips because it's forcing the rotation, the external rotation of the femur at the hip, so I can really feel that. The opposite of that would be to take the feet in, okay? And you don't see many people walking with the feet dramatically turned in, but we're gonna force that action as well. So here we go, we're gonna turn now in. And so now, I really feel the muscles around the TFL, the tensor fasciolata, the hip flexors, those muscles really being challenged by walking in. And the more you practice this, the more comfortable it starts to feel, which means that you're starting to wake up those muscles and strengthen them. And this is all sort of centered around the building up of the feet and our strong foundation. So we're 30 seconds in, really challenging that. Now we're going to go into the moonwalk, and we're going to walk backwards up on the toes. So this one's going to be a little bit harder to tell if I'm walking for a minute. So I'm going to set my timer on my watch. And staying up on the toes, walking backwards. You have the handrails here if you need them. What I'm also focusing on when I'm doing any of these walks is trying to engage that big toe. So that's one of the biggest things when it comes to a lot of the foot issues, is making sure to engage the greater toe or the big toe. And this is why I do a lot of focus on barefoot drills. Some people call it, in the Vivo Barefoot world, they call this toe yoga or toga. So I like to really focus on it. I even do a lot of self-manipulation by using a lacrosse ball or a roller, or even just manipulation with my thumbs and my fingers and my elbows. All right, so that's about a minute. And then last but not least, we may want to get shoes for this one. Challenge the calves, challenge the Achilles, and give yourself this, the opposite of walking on heeled shoes, okay? So here we go, we're resuming the workout and walking on the heels, just like so. Bring that speed back up. And again, this is a lot harder than it looks. Trying to be as consistent on one side as I am on the other, or better known as symmetrical. And we're just staying on the toes, or staying on the heels, staying off the toes. And in a way, this feels like a massage for the heel. And it kind of loosens up the musculature, the ligaments, the tendons, all of the tissues around that heel, which is kind of the beginning of plantar fasciitis, is the tension that is at the insertion of the ligament. So we want to kind of loosen all that up, and that is about a minute. Here we go.